Call to order the special meeting for the Oneonta City School District, February 5th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Mr. Grau,
Here.
Mrs. Burnsworth,
Here.
Mrs. Cashman,
Here.
Mr. Beckerink,
Here.
Mrs. Kurkowski.
Here.
Resolved to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Resolved to approve the COVID-19 sports participation plan as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Well, I would first like to thank you for meeting early today. Very excited to be able to present this plan to you all. This was a collaborative endeavor between Mr. Mackey and our nurses and Dr. Fredette, and we feel as though we've put together a good plan to simply get our kids back doing something. Hopefully this is something that can make them feel good. I got to tell you that it was very nice as I sat here the other day with the cameras on, and yesterday we had basketball taking place in the gym, the cheerleaders up in the science wing, and our wrestlers down in the middle school. It was good to see that everyone was doing exactly what was expected of them for sport specific workouts. And by approving this, not entirely sure who all we may be able to compete against, but it certainly puts us in a position to compete against some folks, and in doing so, we'll be able to at least hold senior recognition for our athletes and give them a chance to compete against others, besides those who are on their same team. So, we are going to monitor this very closely, and but as of right now, we're awful excited to be able to offer this. So again, thank you all for joining this meeting this morning and considering this moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Brindley. And one reason we wanted to do this morning is because our meeting next week, there's a game scheduled, and we didn't want to be approving this, seconds before that started. So we wanted to have this out and available. And thanks to everybody who worked on it. It's pretty comprehensive, and I think lays out a good groundwork for us to move forward. And I'm excited that we're going to be able to do this. This is awesome.
I agree. Dr. Fredette, as you was presented with the plan and signed off on it as our medical director. All of this, previously has been presented to the Department of Health as well. Just indicating how and when we will comply with all of the stipulations that the Department of Health has in there. So basically all of the things that I think that we may have control over, we have absolutely spelled out in this plan. Of course, the outliers are the things we don't have much control over, like the 7-day rolling average and hospitalization percentages. But we have a plan administrator who's going to monitor all of that stuff moving forward. So
I have a couple of questions. One being that with the 7-day rolling average, if the county goes above 4%, is it a stoppage, like a temporary stoppage until we go below 4%, or is it just the end of the season?
it's actually neither. What actually stops is competition. Even if it rises above 4%, and it's still safe for us to do this. Our students can engage in sport-specific workouts, in training. Most of this really has to do with schools engaging in competition with other schools. And the concern related to COVID transmission between counties. So, but if it rises above 4%, that just means we continue on with our practices.
Okay. Sorry. If there's a game scheduled against a team that is in a different county, do we have to do the testing?
No testing. When that team arrives at our building, their coach is going to present our coach or Mr. Mackey with an attestation that that all of their athletes have conducted a health screening, daily health screening, as well as having their temperatures taken. We're still going to take temperatures of those arriving in our buildings just as an added precaution. But the athletic directors are all very excited about this as well, and are all working very closely together to try and do this as safely as possible. Just like when we go someplace else, the coach, handheld digital thermometers have been purchased for all of our coaches. They will check all of essentially anyone who's traveling with them, and present that to the school upon their arrival that, these safety measures were taken prior to even leaving our school parking lot.
Are they, sorry, I have a couple questions here. Are they limited on how many people can go on the bus if they're traveling away?
We, in years past, as you know, JV and varsity have always traveled together.
Mhm.
If there is a team that we cannot, we are fortunate again that we have the buses with the high back seats. If there is a team traveling where we can't put one athlete per seat, we're sending 2 buses. Basically, our plan is to send a JV and a varsity bus.
Okay.
This way we can, to the best of our ability, cohort even those teams. They're practicing, they're not practicing together. Therefore, we're going to keep them off of the buses together. That's what we're planning on doing. I don't really know how other schools are going to handle that, but that's our plan moving forward.
Okay, thank you. I'm really excited. I get
I
a
am
senior
too.
night on Tuesday. I'm pretty excited about that. My one and only game I can see him in person, but I'm pretty excited for it.
I know, and I'm hoping, and I know that parents will be understanding. We've taken
Yep.
measures to stream the events, but we want to do everything we can to give our kids this opportunity. And unfortunately, if that means no spectators aside from our senior recognition nights, then and that'll be it. Especially for indoor athletics. This will be monitored, and as we inch ever closer to the nicer weather, all of that will be reviewed.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, Tom, real quick, I know Colleen probably has several questions. I just want to ask one, and I'm sure whatever she has to offer, it might be something I was thinking about as well. But quick question. I know this is talking about our fall sports that we're pushing over till now. Are we going to put out another protocol for spring sports, or are we just going to piggyback off of this? Because I noticed like softball, baseball isn't part of what we have on here. And there's a couple of things during that particular sport that really only concern me, i.e. the pitcher licking his mouth and wiping it off on his pants. I know it's something that the NCAA right now we're still in talk works with on how we're going to change that for the players. I know Division I has their own policy, but D3 and lower and D2 haven't really come out with a game plan. But for us, I see this plan doesn't say anything about the spring sports. So that's really my question. Are we going to look at something different for the so I just use softball, baseball.
Yeah. And Sean, it's a good question, and we may, we've fashioned our plan off of the guidance that was provided by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, and based on what I've read and heard, there is additional guidance that will be forthcoming relative to spring sports. So yeah, and I would imagine. I don't know how long, but I'd imagine that might be kind of a little a wait and see kind of thing. But I would imagine that guidance would be, coming out, in the next month or so.
Yeah, because I know we got till April 19th before those
Are-
sports start. So we
Are
got some-
those, are those sports deemed high risk?
No, not at this time, they're not.
So this is our high risk sport thing. Safety
Yeah, and
measure.
there's some in here that are not high risk as well, which was interesting to me. But yeah, this is particular to, the concern related to high risk athletics.
And real quick, Tom, and I know someone out there may or may not be thinking about this, but what happened to volleyball? I mean, I guess my justification is we're allowing wrestling, two athletes to get together on the ground and sweat and get all over top each other, but we're not allowing volleyball. Is that a New York State thing, or is that a New York State Department of?
No, nothing happened. Nothing happened to volleyball. Volleyball is a fall 2 sport.
It's
So
not
that-
on the list.
It's not on the list.
No, it's not on the list yet. There's
Okay.
that guidance hasn't come out yet. I don't know if it's going to be very different than some other sports, but once volleyball comes out, it is a fall 2 sport. So yeah, no,
Maybe I was just under the assumption, Tom, I didn't see it on there that we just. the
Oh,
state of
yeah.
New York fixated.
I was going to mention that in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Because Cash was steaming when I saw her, no volleyball on there.
I wore my volleyball jacket just for that.
I know you did.
Um,
That's all I have for now. Thanks.
all right. Cash, does that mean you're all set?
No, sorry. I actually have a decent sized list, and forgive me if I'm being a little nitpicky, I guess. So
Sure.
I think the first question I have is, and this is probably because my daughters are in the modified level, is does this just for JV and modified sports, or JV and varsity sports, or is this for modified as well?
No, we're gonna try and run modified as well.
Okay, because I mean, just for my own purposes, like when I look at a document like this, I would like to see, okay, this is an agreement and consent for modified JV and varsity sports.
It's
Can
for
we-
the Oneonta City School District. All
Okay. But that's a question, like even for my daughters, like ever since they've heard that this is going to happen, they keep asking me, is modified going to be part of this? Is modified, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just that clarity piece to our modified
starts in
sports
the
going to be
middle school.
happening.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
So they haven't, they keep hearing things, but at the same time, they haven't gotten the true confirmation, I guess. So they'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
This is, can we just number the pages to this? Can we number them? Because they're not numbered. And I think that's important when you have a document that's this size.
Bill, does that do
that's-
anything to it being
that's just-
approved today? A revision like
Okay.
that?
This is
Yeah.
approved as it is, or we don't approve it.
Okay.
Okay. Mass.
Mass-
So right. So as you look through this document, right, like it doesn't actually say masks are required for each sport.
Well, it doesn't in the first page.
But that's part of the inconsistencies, I think, for me. Like if you look at soccer, it says masks are worn during the competition. And then if you look at swimming, it says if you're not in the water, masks must be worn on the deck. But if you look at the other sports, it doesn't mention that.
Okay.
And I know, and again, it's that being in athletics for however long, being with student athletes, just being with students in my profession, if it's not written down, it's generally not followed because they have to see it in writing. So for me personally, I think that should be specified that if you're not in the game, your mask needs to be on. Or if you're in, you know what I mean? Like whatever. I don't even, like even just reading this, like I look at the college game and they're on the court and they're not wearing a mask. But here for basketball, I'm not seeing that you need to be wearing a mask while you're playing. So I don't know. You want,
Okay.
okay. I personally think that's important.
I can say that the kids have been told that they have to wear the masks while they're on the court, and then the only time they can take them off is when they're on the bench, but they have to be 6 feet apart. So verbally, they, at least for boys basketball, they've been told that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, Sue, and I know that the coaches are taking it just as seriously. They want the sports just as much. I know that the boys basketballs, because what I know, they show up, you know, they can strip their sweats off or whatever, but they show up ready to practice. They're masked the entire time unless they're taking a mask break, sitting 6 feet apart, and they have to bring their own water. I mean, you know, I know that it's just as important to the athletes and their coach that they're getting to do this. So
So to piggyback off what Colleen's asking, is basketball, are they going to have to wear a mask on the basketball court? Because according to what I've watched and seen, that soccer has to wear it while they're participating. Does that mean during the competition as well, Tom?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
No,
Because that's, I guess when I looked at the document too last night, again, that mask really isn't specified, only specified in maybe 2 different sports, and that was diving or swimming and
Soccer.
Soccer,
Yeah.
thank you. There's nothing on there about basketball. There's nothing on there about when you look at the document itself.
the original version had like a preamble. You were answering questions and masks were addressed. That's not in here any longer.
No,
There's nothing in the beginning about masks.
no, nothing. Actually, the word masks only comes up 4 or 5 times in the entire document.
And that's probably under those sports.
So are we not approving the COVID-19 sports safety measures as per the Otsego County Department of Health?
I guess we're just maybe asking some questions. I mean, I'm not saying no and I'm not saying yes yet. That, I mean, I know the understanding if you come into a school district building, you're wearing a mask. And I think that's just a complete understanding. But, and then going back into the document itself, it says that at one time that no spectators at all, because we're going virtual. And I completely understand it. But then you read down further, it says that the spectators are going to sit further behind the players. And I'm like, well, I thought there was going to be no spectators. So it was just a lot of inconsistency on.
No, that's all been changed. That's all been changed.
Did we not get the same
Right.
one?
So cloth masks should be worn at all times. The only other city school district is a 100% mask wearing school district, aside when in the swimming pool or when wearing a mask creates a choking or strangulation concern.
That is not in the version that's in the agenda.
No, not at all.
No, nope.
Thinking, Tom, maybe we have 2 different versions.
Okay, well, I'll do whatever you want. You know, I know the stipulation has been communicated to our students.
And again, I understand that, but we're looking, if we're approving a document and we're approving something as a board that's going to be, you know, district wide, then for me personally, I want to approve what I'm reading and what I'm seeing and writing. And I'm not seeing that. And yes, I'm ecstatic for this to happen, but I also want to make sure that we are being safe and everything is legit. And there's, for me, in the document that I read, there's just too many inconsistencies for me right now. Like football is the largest sport that we have. And when it gets going, if we're going to have however many boys on that field, there's nothing in football here for any bench protocol, anything for social distancing, but yet we have that for the other sports. So that's what I'm talking about, like with the inconsistencies that I see.
These inconsistencies came right from the New York State Public High School Athletic Association.
And that's okay. Like that's okay, but does that mean that that needs to be okay for our school district? Can't we fix those so that it's right for us and better for us so that we don't get in trouble? That's my concern.
Hey, Tom, is it, I mean, I know what Colleen's saying, but Mike, when you mentioned about the cloth mask, is that something completely different we've never seen before? Or is it, do you have a
No,
different,
guys, I've
that
sent
Heidi sent out?
documents, and I mean, this is,
Because maybe what you're saying could be clarified if we're all had the same document. Because I think Bill and I we all see that. Like when you said it was on the first page about the masks, there's nothing about
The
masks.
document that's posted in board docs
Doesn't have it.
doesn't have.
Doesn't
it.
have it. I'm looking at it
So
right now.
is there, is there a version, like, was the wrong one uploaded? Is it something Reggie can put in board docs right now?
So maybe the wrong one was uploaded, and if we can upload the
Absolutely.
more recent one, we can talk through that. At least get the mask part in there, because that needs to be in the document.
And I think in this day and age, we all get it. We have to wear masks in an assumption, but when it's much easier for us to defend as a district if we have it in writing and you can say, right here it is.
I just sent it to Reggie.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, it sounds to me, while that's happening, it sounds to me that if we can have this mask piece added to it, we're okay with what's happening with winter sports. If there was something that we decided later that we wanted to amend, could we then do that at another board meeting? For spring or?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I think, like everything else in this pandemic era, the rules change all the time. So I think if we do want to work on the winter or fall 2 or winter, those sports, we can certainly do that.
How are the coaches and athletes managing hydration, Tom? Like it says, bring your own water bottle, but is that enough for them? Because practices, I'm guessing, are pretty intense at times, but is one water, like, are they bringing more than one water bottle?
Owen takes 2 to practice.
I haven't heard, we're only, a couple of days in, so I haven't really heard any concerns related to that.
Are they
Let me
still
think.
able to use the, like I noticed at the Y, they have the water fountain that says for filling your bottle only. Do we have that capability if they run out of water?
We do. We have to have one functioning water fountain per every 100 students.
And there's one right at the end of
So
the gym, right?
Yeah.
So they are allowed to use that then?
Yeah, they're allowed to use it.
According to
To fill their
right,
water bottle,
but
not to take a sip.
right.
Yeah, 'cause the document says there won't be any hydration stations.
correct. Right.
Well,
So
because-
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, the inconsistencies.
well, our medical director would rather them not use the filling station and bring their own water bottles. Dr. Fredette is the one who, signed off on that. So
I think when I saw that, really I assumed that meant rolling out the Gatorade bucket,
Right.
the spigot, and the cups, and that was the hydration station, not necessarily the water fountain bottle filling station.
and that's the way the conversation took place with Dr.
Okay.
Fredette.
All right. That's good to know.
During the day, just regular
Because
day
then it would just,
activity, the students able to fill their water bottles, Tommy, at the like in middle school, but they got that big one right there to the right by the cafeteria. They can fill their water bottles there.
They can, yes. We have to by law provide that.
Right. So I don't see why this would be an issue as long as there's one within, by the gymnasium right there by the locker room where the old locker room used to be. If a student actually needs to go fill it up, they go fill it up.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that clarifies that.
That new document should be up for you guys to see now.
Maybe you have to hit refresh.
it's completely different.
It's
Yeah.
completely different, completely. And it's 18 pages compared to what, 12, I think?
Yeah, Tommy, I think this actually explains a lot what you were talking about, and by looking at the look on your face.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know, right? You're like,
it
what
just
the,
makes sense that
what the heck
were
are you
on the
talking
same
about,
page.
Cashman? Like,
Yeah, because the talk about the locker room was never even discussed in the page we had. Oh,
No,
it's-
that's completely
That's one
different document.
that's one of my bullets.
Yeah. Cost man, okay, Tom, that's,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's much
This
more.
is much better.
And I'll apologize because I saw the version that got posted and it just didn't click that that first part was missing. So
You're
I
fired,
reviewed it
Phil.
also. I apologize.
I guess the question is, do we want to sit, everyone read this thing and understand it a little bit better, or do we continue with this meeting? Bill, what are your thoughts? I mean, I'd like to read it again, but I'm assuming that everything we're discussing now is already in this, but in order for me to sit there and read this page by page, just to make
I
sure.
think the first 2 pages of the document that was just uploaded covers a lot of it.
Does it? Okay.
It actually even answered my question about the 4%. It's so,
Yeah.
I think that's why some of us were asking the questions, is because we didn't have the correct or the same document that you were looking at, Tom. So sorry about that.
No worries.
So how about this? I think that this has the information you're probably looking for. And I would like to move forward and approve it so that we have something in place because, you know, we have practices and events coming up.
Yep.
Look this over with a, you know, a closer view. And if there are changes needed, we have a board meeting coming Wednesday. So, you know, I would say get back to Tom and let him know what you're thinking. And, you know, if we need to revise it, we'll revise it and we can approve a revision of it on Wednesday.
Yeah, if you send me your suggestions, you know, I'll make those changes and I will get it out to you for review prior to that as well.
I'm comfortable. I'll make the motion because I'm comfortable as it stands for the sports that are in progress right now. So I'll make the motion to move forward with it.
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion to move forward. We'll vote on that and then we'll vote to approve this. Those are 2 different things. So all in favor of moving forward?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Any other discussion on the document? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ready to vote? Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the discussion. I think, you know, this is an important thing and I appreciate everyone taking a look at it and asking questions. That's what we're here for. So I appreciate that. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Or second, whatever.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
We're adjourned.
Have a good Friday, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Bill and Amy, I'll see you in a minute.
Yep.
Okay.